What up y'all, it's your boy Ben here and we're back with another Pokemon Pocket update video. Over the weekend we had so many tournaments that occurred, and as like the premier decks came out, like your Darkrai and everything else like that, it may have overshadowed a lot of the good decks that were really out there. And so that's the purpose for today's video, is to dive into all of the creative builds that people have made that really did well and crushed these tournaments. So if you like the video, as always, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and click that notification bell button. There's some analytics that say that we're not going to hit 10,000 until June, but I know that we can get there much faster. Alright, with that out of the way, let's dive in. So our first deck here is looking at the Pachirisu Pikachu EX deck. Quite frankly, Pikachu just kind of disappeared. I think the breakpoints of 120 HP really makes it hard to like kind of compete with everything new that came out, but this player Wizzy here did a great job of going 10 and introducing this deck here, where this is kind of smart. You kind of just make your opponent need to get through high HP statted points and also dealing with high damages. Having them need to go through 2 EX mons is very difficult to do at times. And I think the Electabuzz here is a great tech to make sure that you can also get through to the back line in case they're trying to put up a wall, like a Judgeodon with the Rocky Helmet, so that way you can get over. So we have the Rocky Helmet here and Giant Cape to enable your Pachirisu. And obviously you are running 7 basics, so that way you're consistently getting your Pikachu. Up next is Kython. I apologize if I butcher that, but they went 12-2-1 in this player tournament with a Charizard deck running a Shaman. Just when I thought that the Charizard decks were kind of like out of the picture because we had Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Gyarados, there's a huge resurgence now that like Darkrai is coming out. Mewtwo is really sad, and so there's a breathing room for Charizard to like kind of do its thing and show why it was really dominant. Here's the deck list here. We have your Charizard EX, we have your Moltres EX, and then your Shaman here is really only used for its ability. The ability here says once during your turn you may heal 10 damage at your Pokemon. So that's just getting you just heals if it's on the bench. There are probably moments in which you have Shaman and just Shaman in your hand, and that's really unlucky because you still have 2 Charmanders and you have your Pokemon communication here, just kind of makes getting it more consistently. Dawn is really spicy in this deck because you can Moltres, Inferno Dance, get energy on your bench, and then Dawn up that energy and knock out your opponent with a Heat Blast when they least expect it. So having this addition in here, especially with communication, has been really helpful in making come out on top. Here's another version of the Charizard deck, which is pretty standard if you're like kind of confused about the Shaman. I thought that was spicy in of itself, but here you are trading your Shaman for Pokemon communication, but you'll see here that the deck normally runs here, really opting out of the Arcanines and trying to build that consistency and just aiming for your Charizard EX by the introduction of Pokemon. And speaking of old Pokemon decks, from Mythical Island, the Surgence of Gyarados EX has still found its way into Space-Time Smackdown. Now, whether this is going to continue, we'll continue to see that, but they're making a splash, all pun intended. Sorry, y'all, I'm a dad, and I couldn't help but say it. But we have our typical 2 Judgeodons, 2 Gyaradoses, and 2 Greninjas, but the only really difference here that has made this much more devastating is the introduction of Cyrus and Greninja here. This combination is amazing. There's really just one of the Cyrus, but you are Water Shuriken anything that you want, and then that Cyrus comes up and cleans off with the Gyarados. So things that are trying to hide from the damage that's being done from the Judgeodon, or even whittling down those HP for it to be in Gyarados' range and then bringing it up with the Cyrus, is just such a deadly combo to finish a lot of games. And your opponent's kind of wondering, do they have the Cyrus, do they not? And they can't hide from you because of that water. So one of the new decks that we're getting to see here that did really well over the weekend is Luxray Electivire with its new supporter Volkner. This is that to see that it's doing pretty well, and this is something I'm excited to try out myself. We see here we have Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray all from the new set, and what this trainer did, they decided to use Mythical Island Electabuzz because of that read towards the back, which is really cool when you think about the combination between Electabuzz and Luxray here. Between the two of them, you can aim 160 damage anyway. Electivire is such a great sweeper because of the fact that once you have 4 energy attached to it, you can do up to 120 damage. You have your Rocky Helmet and your Giant Cape here to really disincentivize folks from attacking you or making sure that they can. And then that allows you to really clean things up with this Thunder Spear or this Volt Bolt. Volkner here is your main anchor. This is what allows you to get that energy for those quick swings. So you set something up to get attacked by the 120 from Electivire or from the Luxray, then you Volkner, then you put the energy back on there, and then you attack. Ideal world here. So this is pretty sweet. Luxray is great for going second because your energy advantage, you just go Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray into that. Those are your 3. You attack, you Volkner the next and then go again. So that's really a flavorful here, and I really like this. Up next is the power of Lucario, again reaching into Mythical Island as his full support, but we knew that fighting decks were going to be on the rise once again with the Lucario card here, and we're seeing that take into effect in this tournament where this player went 8-8. So when we take a look at this deck, we have the 2 Riolos and 2 Lucarios, but this is also building up your Mankey, your Primates, and your Marshadows. And with the introduction of Giovanni in here, having these cards out here deal so much more damage than you. A lot of times you'll find yourself having 1 Lucarios, and if you can get 2, that's an additional 40. With the Giovanni, it's an additional 50. So Primate could punch it for 100. Marshadow can reach up to 150. It's just kind of insane when you think about how much more, like the plus, we got plus 10 with Giovanni was crazy, but getting that plus 20 with Lucario with Pokemon that don't need a lot of energy to attack, you have stage 1s or even your basics here, can deal a lot and can deal fast damage. Another sweet deck that's coming out in Space-Time Smackdown, y'all. I don't know if y'all have been cooking in the lab or whatever the case may be, but the deck building for this game, the amount of cards that we've gotten has been great. And we see here that this Chaya Rot Shore featured Skarmory and Bass, right? So when we look at this deck, this has been really cool to play. You are always going to open up on Skarmory, and with 4 Pokemon tools, you'll typically be able to attack for 50 damage. And why that's really nice is that this deals with the stuff like Manaphy or this Farfetch or really anything else that they're trying to set up in the beginning because of HP. And if they do, you still have that advantage of having either more health or having them lose. So that's great. And the sneak of the cards, Bastiodon's ability is that if you flip and you hit heads, you take minus 100 damage. So if you are a lucky gamer, or if you can get, you know, your heads 50, this thing is so long. Like this thing tanks through so much, and dealing 80 on the back end, putting either a Giant Cape or a Rocky Helmet, the opponent either loses, they lose minus 20 because a lot of the times that minus a lot of attacks here. And so that's really cool to have this and to see its own deck that's like just outside. Up next, we have the Surgeons of a Grass deck with Xin Young here, featuring a Venusaur and an Executor, which is really interesting. We're starting to see a lot of Darkrai decks, obviously, and what is Darkrai weak to? Not fighting, but grass. So this is really good to get that started. Being able to deal 80, but into the dark decks, being able to deal 100 is a big deal. You have your Venusaur EX for sustainability, your Erika's here, your Giant Cape. Just really making sure that this is a thing that's a tank. 210 HP is a monster. And so being able to build that up and go from there makes it really exciting. Up next, we have a Pachirisu EX exclusive deck here. This is going 7-3, hitting that high win rate of 70% here. And this is giving the vibes of the 18 trainers that we once saw with Articuno, but now Pachirisu EX is coming to take the kind of the throne here in order to be able to take advantage of that as well. So when we look at this deck, which is really interesting, is that it's just Pachirisu EX. You have all of your Pokemon tools here, like all of them. Giant Cape is 2, and then you have your Rocky Helmet and your Lumberry, and then you have Cyrus, Giovanni, and Sabrina. You're really reaching towards the back here. The name of the game is to get your Pachirisu online for just 2 energy, dealing 80 damage the whole entire way, saving them up with potions. If they run away, you get the Cyrus, and because 6 cards out of your 20 are Pokemon tools that you'll be attacking for that 80 damage every single time. And the last of our list here is a Yanmega Wigglytuff EX deck. And so this one was pretty cool here. They went 6-1 in their Pocket Championship tournament here. And what's been cool about this is that it features Yanmega. Yanmega has been able to go into any deck, as it is a 3 colorless energy, which means that they're pairing this up with Wigglytuff EX, which is 3 colors energy, and Mew EX, which is 3 colors energy. And if you're kind of like, why does 3 colors energy work, is because you have your ramp here in Dialga, in which this will be all steel, and when you get your Metallic Turbo online, these are good to go. Now the question is, do you run 2 of these so that way you have more opportunities to run into your ramp? This person opted to do 1 and 1 with Mew EX, and so they went 6-1, so we gotta kind of have to believe in the cook and see what we get from there. I really do like the different effects that they have here. 120 is great to reach into the Darkrai decks. Darkrai has HP stat of 140, so with weakness, Air Slash takes it out in 1. Wigglytuff puts the opponent in a flip, you know, heads are a 50-50. Why am I struggling with words right there? But they're in a 50-50 in order for that to work out for them in order to get out. And with genome hacking, that also is able to use their moves against them. So all around, you have a lot of tools in terms of your Pokemon in which that you would use to attack the opponent, and therefore you have a lot of versatility into facing the kind of cards that you can go up against. So those were the spicy picks from the weekend. If you're curious as to what website this is Limitless, where you can sign up for tournaments that literally are going on 7 days out of the week. Most of them are for free, which is like really awesome, because we get to see all this cool data and take your hand at that as well too. But as always, if you all like the content and everything else that comes with it, hit that like button, subscribe, click that notification bell button so that you do not miss out on a thing, especially on the daily uploads that we have on the channel. All right, y'all, until next one, peace.